Hi there, I'm Robbie Cannon from Cannon Performance, and you're listening to In Conversation With.
We used to show a video of Colin doing karaoke, which was even worse.
One particular song, or
just in shout?
Yeah, you have to have one song. Mine is My Girl.
Yeah, very good. The Temptations.
I can sing it decent enough. I'm not going to sing it now on camera.
Shame. Oh, is it just the camera? Then you can just claim it with somebody else who was.
But yeah, I can do that pretty well.
Very good.
I haven't sang in a while though, so the words I might forget them.
When was last time after Leinster final last year?
No, there was no singing. We've introduced kind of I wouldn't say a punishment, but if a couple of kind of rules we set with the minors this year. For example, filling in their workout sheets and stuff. If anyone loses them or if anyone's not filled it up to date, they have to sing a song in front of the group. So one guy has fell of it, but he was very clever and sang the national anthem. So I have changed the rules of that, and it has to be a popular song.
Okay, yeah. Current or
there's no specific time frame on it. Just has to be a popular song.
It just needs to embarrass them, so they won't step out of line again. Pretty much.
And in fairness, what we're trying to do there with the management team, with Dunne, a manager, and a great management team he has there now, is it's player led, so like they come up with the idea. So rather than us telling them what to do or what kind of punishment or ritual they have to do, so they come up with the idea. So it makes it a lot easier to enforce.
It's obviously worked then if only one person has fell foul of the rules.
So far, we started early with the minors this year. I was quite keen because it's my second year starting. So last year was my first year with the Laois football teams. So I felt I wanted to get a bit of a head start last year because I felt that they were a bit behind starting last year. That's a little bit of a domino effect. There hasn't been any proper strength conditioning being done with the football teams before I came in for a couple of years, and there was no structure in place. So part of my role is to put a structure in place now that it's just going to be seamless, and it's going to have that domino effect. So for example, the 15s and 16s, when they go in next year, they'll be bigger and stronger. So you can see already with the guys who were in last year, that they would have been under 16s last year, they're 17s for next year, they're already bigger and stronger now, and much more athletic, because like it's a running game and you have to have high degree of athleticism, and if you don't have that, you're going to struggle. So it's just about building from the bottom.
I was with there last Monday. I was with John O'Loughlin.
Yeah,
he came in to do a mental health talk or panel with us, and I was just that's the sheer size of him.
Yeah, John's massive. To be fair,
yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah,
imposing figure.
He probably needs to get a little bit smaller now because he's a midfielder, and he obviously has to get up and down the pitch.
Yeah.
But we're only back not that long, so he did great work last winter. Got himself really lean, and he was fantastic for us. He was one of our leaders through the league, and he really got us through that division. And in championship as well, he was fantastic, especially the early games. May have got a little bit tired throughout the end of the season, so we've kind of given him a bit more of a rest this year. So hopefully you'll see the benefit then, so we can peak out a bit later in the summer.
So before we go on, in case you didn't know,
we should probably intro it. I forgot about that. We got carried away.
Yeah, you're listening to In Conversation With, and today we're coming to you from Morton Stadium in Santry, a brand new location for us. We haven't been here before.
We haven't. This is the first again.
Very nice view.
Very nice view of the track and the field and all that.
What's this, the press box?
Or
some variation of.
Yeah, you would see some press in here. I think when there's competitions and runs being done, it can be held for introduction and stuff like that as well. So just various different forms of stuff goes on in here. So
nice location.
So you're very welcome. This is the home of Irish athletics.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And in case you didn't know, the voice you're listening to is Robbie Cannon. Just we have to introduce people as always.
Looking at your previous list of guests, I'm probably one of the less known.
Don't understand yourself.
We did interview students starting out, in fairness.
Unless you play golf or follow Gaelic football or strength conditioning in Ireland.
Well, I think we're appealing to a good...
And then we might be tapping into a niche market as well, so you got to look at it two ways.
Our good friend Conor Moore, he tapped into the golf industry.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he started his golf impressions. So yeah, there's always room for expansion, stuff like that.
You know Conor Moore.
Does Conor Sketches.
Conor Sketches. Yeah, he was over there with the NBC or the Golf Channel.
Golf Channel. Yeah.
So
he's very good actually. See, there's another guy doing more. He's not doing impressions like voice impressions. He's actually mimicking lads' swings.
Oh, right.
This guy.
I did see him. Yeah,
he's very, very good. So.
Right, sure. We'll get underway. And Robbie, for those of you who might not know or familiar with your work, do you want to give us a little overview
of my work? Yeah. So I am a strength and conditioning coach. I look after various sporting athletes. And currently, as we discussed, I'm head of athletic development for the Laois County football teams. So
which got Greg very excited when he learned that.
It did. I had seen you a couple of times throughout the league there and stuff. Didn't know who you were at the start, just from being honest.
Yeah.
But then you started to pop up a bit on social media with a couple of the lads. So I figured out who you were, and I think there was an uptake in the Laois footballers golfing this year certainly as well.
Yeah, there's a few lads play and they're quite handy. So
who'd be?
But Gareth Dillon was a really good golfer.
Oh yeah, Gareth was over in America for years, wasn't he?
I'm not sure about that, but I know he was in UCD and he was playing on the golf team there. So he would have been in UCD when Shane Lowry was there and Darrell Lernahan. Quite good. He's a pro as well down in Bray.
Obviously, I'm quite familiar with.
Yeah. So Garrett was really good. He still plays. He's obviously not quite as good as he was, but he could still play. He'll still probably be a single figure handicapper. Colin Begley is mad keen on it.
Colin's my first cousin.
Okay,
there you go.
You kind of see a little bit of.
He's slightly taller.
Who's that more insulting to?
Darren Strong plays. Kieran Lillis plays. Ross plays a bit. I haven't been out with Ross. I've been out with the other lads. So there is quite a lot of them that are into it and play. So
for context, Ross is Ross Munley, who is as well as Laois GAA footballer. He's director of alumni relations in DCU and set up this interview.
And
former guest and introduced us for. So thanks to Ross.
Cheers, Ross.
Before we go on.
Thanks, Ross. I think
you don't know yet.
We'll see how it goes. But so like you said, you're a strength and conditioning coach and also an Irish amateur golfer yourself.
Yeah, current Irish international. I was fortunate enough to win the Irish Amateur Close Championship there in August.
So that
in the European club.
As well as the 2013 Irish Amateur Open.
I won that one as well, and 2009 South of Ireland. Yeah. So I've 3 championships, a couple other close calls, but I suppose I'm pretty happy to have 3 at the moment.
Yes, so. You're quite a successful amateur golfer. Was the thought of turning pro ever something that came into your mind?
Was it ever a possibility?
Yeah, I think when you're growing up, and obviously it's the dream. When I was younger, I wanted to play soccer for Manchester United, and then when I realised I wasn't very good at that, obviously I actually took up golf then at kind of quite late 14. So I was always Gaelic football and soccer up until then, and just the first couple of years of golf, like I was never off the golf course, which was probably detrimental to my schoolwork in my 4th and 5th year, especially leaving cert year. But I think when you're 18, 19 and you're trying to get better, you obviously have aspirations. But even like I got to a certain level, like I played into provincials when I was 22, would have been runner-up to Leinster Youths 21.
Oh, you were runner-up to Graham McDowell.
Yeah. So I think around that stage you're probably thinking, have I got a chance here? But then, like I think when I got on the Irish panel for the first time, I didn't really drive on, didn't have a great year that year. And then I started working, started getting into the real world.
Oh, you got a degree in environmental business?
No, I didn't get a degree. I just started working. I worked for a guy from the golf club. Actually, he had a environmental chemicals business, and he actually sold it to a couple other guys, and I kind of went along as part of the package. So I was basically running that side of the business for a couple of years. But I wasn't getting to play a whole lot of golf and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Priorities came calling.
yeah, I guess it did, but like I was still playing a bit, and I was still having limited success. Like I was getting to the last 16 of tournaments, finishing the odd top 10, played for Leinster a couple more times. But I think it was around that time then you realised that you were nowhere near as good, because I was playing, like I played with Rory quite a lot. He's only 16, 17 at this stage, and you just, like, I knew Rory quite well because one of my best friends is the pro in Hollywood Golf Group from where Rory's from, and when you played him a couple of times, after 4 or 5 holes, this guy's going to be a superstar. You just knew
from then he was going to.
You knew, like I knew when he was 15 that he was going to be a superstar. He was that good. And
did you ever see him getting the likes of the sponsorship deals that he has now?
Obviously, you knew he was going to be a
big
professional, and I never really thought about him winning majors or anything like that at that stage. But to be fair, the first time I played with Shane was the exact same. You could, like, after 4 or 5 holes, you could tell this guy has it as well. He just had this X factor, just very little curvature in the golf ball, very, very straight ball flight. Their bad shots aren't that bad, and just magic around the greens and stuff like that. Like, them two were just, when I seen them two, I said, like, these guys are the best that I've ever played with. And like, I wasn't too far behind them, but that's the level that you have to be at.
But what would you say theirs is natural talent? And
I don't think there's such thing as natural talent. Like, I think Rory played from a very young age.
Okay.
Wasn't he on telly when he was only a young fella chipping balls into it?
Oh yeah.
I remember the
I love seeing that. But he obviously, he was, I wouldn't say groomed, but obviously his dad, mum and dad obviously seen he'd great talent and he loved it, and they just did the best they could for him, and they had tough times for a few years. Like, his dad worked a couple of jobs and stuff like that to kind of fund, because he was going over to play all these junior events in America and stuff. But like, from a very young age, you could see the guys that he was playing with, the likes of Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, they were all the same route. I think Shane was a little bit of a later starter, but like, he was very sporty, good corner forward for Clara, and he would obviously done a bit of hurling and stuff like that. So he was very sporty. Obviously, he has the sporting genes because his dad is a All-Ireland winner with Offaly. His uncle's on the same team, so they have that genetics in the Lowry family, because his brother Alan's a great golfer as well. But like, talking to Shane about it, like, he would have practiced a huge amount in his teens when he started. So, and then obviously he has the mental strength that when he had a chance to win tournaments, he went and done it, and that's a huge part of it. You can have all the physical gifts you want, but if you don't have it upstairs.
And even talking to you so far, it seems like in your mind, practice is everything to make sure you're at the top of your game. Nothing's given to you.
Yeah, you have to put the work in. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing handed out to you for free in this world. And just from my own experience, like, it's kind of funny. You see common themes throughout your career of when you've had success and things that you've done, and you see teams when you're probably aren't playing as well and stuff that you're not doing, and you kind of start thinking to yourself, why aren't I doing that all the time? So as I've got older, more experienced, wiser, I've started to do a lot more stuff that I would have done in the past and I've had success. So for just giving an example, I was moving house. I actually moved house the day after I won the close final. So I was packing up all my stuff, and I keep a lot of diaries, and I was looking at my diaries, and some years where I had great success, like 2009, 2013, 2014, I would have kept like daily kind of notes and stuff, what I've done, what I was doing the next day. I would be of the belief that if you can have little small victories every day, they can all add up, and they can all add up to the big victories in the summer when it counts. And I just noticed the years I did well, I had all these diaries filled in, and then there was years where success wasn't there, or I wasn't playing well, and like they're empty.
So you weren't as dedicated to it, like you weren't as.
Yeah, and obviously life probably got in the way a little bit. getting back to the job then, like when I worked for them guys, I then went out my own little bit just to try and free up, play golf a little bit, and then as I did, I actually started playing a little bit better. But the danger with starting your own business then, as it starts to grow, it starts getting very busy. So then as I got to kind of 2007, 2008, it was getting really, really busy, and I ended up playing less golf. And I wasn't really enjoying it. I was making a lot of money at that stage, but life wasn't as enjoyable. So I decided to go back to college then part-time, and that was kind of 2009. As I getting to play a lot of golf as well at that stage, and obviously had a great year that year. Won my first championship, played for Ireland for the first time. But then, like the next year, as I was winding down the other company, and you're starting up a new business, obviously you're studying as well. Like it's amazing when you're making so much money, and then it's all of a sudden it's dropping down. So like,
was it hard to adjust your lifestyle accordingly?
Crazy. I wouldn't say it was quite tough times, but from what I was used to, I think the best way to explain to people is you go into Tesco and you don't look at the price of stuff, and then all of a sudden you're going to Tesco and you look at everything.
Yeah.
But I think it was a good experience long term. I think it was very humbling, and I think it's helped improve my life going forward as well. But yeah, as I said, from having loads of money to struggling for a couple of years. So when you're struggling, it's obviously very hard to perform on the golf course. So I guess the business started getting a lot busier then, kind of 2012, 2013, and then I could start. You have to be good. Like life has to be good for you to have success in any sport. It's
so
very,
off the field, or off the
off the field, off the course. Things have to be good for you to perform. Because if you're out on the golf course and you're worrying about finances, or you're worrying about family, or worrying about something, relationships or anything like that, then you're not going to be able to perform your best.
And have you ever worked with the likes of a sports psychologist yourself?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of psychology. I've obviously done a couple of modules with my degree in sports science, and then I've done my masters as well. There was psychology in that, so I read so many books about it as well, and other topics. But yes, it's huge, and I've worked with a few sports psychologists, and I've got something out of each and every one of them. Currently working with somebody as well, and she's great. And like even talking to some of the guys, like I was in Spain with Shane at a tournament there a few weeks ago, and even out watching him and chatting to him, and then there was a lot of rain delays. Got to talk to Porrig quite a lot, Harrington, and Porrig's caddy, Ronan Flood. So like things like that, you can pick up little nuggets and stuff like that. So I'm a big believer in sports psychology, and it's definitely helped my game over the years. It's one of the reasons why I've had so much success the last kind of 7-8 years. So.
And what would be the most important things you've picked up, even little nuggets, in regards to sports psychology over time?
It goes back to what I was saying about my diaries. Actually, telling yourself to do stuff, like making a plan. One of the things I love about Ross Munley, like he's one of the most professional persons I've ever met. His attention to detail, he reminds me a little bit of myself. He leaves nothing to chance. Like he has his own physio, he does the strength and conditioning with me, his own nutritionist, everything, he leaves nothing to chance. Keeps in contact with the manager, always talking how can he improve, always asking me how he can improve. Just high level of professionalism, something that you probably see in a professional sports person.
Even going into his 17th year, he's still trying to see how he can improve.
Exactly. Like he's probably the guy, the number one guy in Laois who keeps in contact with me about improving himself, and that's why he's still playing.
It speaks to his longevity.
Yeah.
And as I said, I can kind of see a bit of that myself, because like I'm 40 now in March, and I feel like I'm getting better. I honestly feel like the best is to come, because I look after myself. I'm quite meticulous with my preparation and my practice, and as you said, like about putting in the work, it was funny, after Laois were knocked out of the championship against Monaghan, like I practiced the hardest I'd say I've ever done the whole month of July, and then first week of August I go and win the Irish Clubs.
Yeah.
So hard work does pay off.
So you talk about being meticulous and stuff like that. Run through us then what a typical day would be for you.
Working or practice or
By the sounds of it, I think you do a bit of a balance of both.
Yeah, I'd say so.
yeah, I think you have to have that life-work balance, and that's very important to me. I'm quite lucky in the fact that my busy period at work is generally kind of October, November, right through till kind of April. The golf season is then obviously kind of May, June, July, August. Obviously we had a great run in the championship release this year, so I was quite busy with work up until we were beaten there. But I still had kind of, it's a very planned and preparation. If you can, the night before, if you can write down what you're going to do the next day and you can plan it, and even if you plan it a few days in advance, like sometimes it's great to get your diary out on a Sunday and kind of block out hours that you can go and practice. So I'm clever enough with that. If I'm going to work with clients, I would block out, say, a morning right through to kind of early afternoon, and then have the evening off to practice, or afternoon off to practice. This time of year, I tend to try and do most of my work either very early in the morning and then come back in the evening time so I can practice during the day, or have all my work from afternoon evening so I can practice in the morning time. That's the key. It's all about preparation. So I think that's the most important thing about being meticulous. Is being meticulous.
We could play this interview as an inspiration,
Yeah.
motivational speech for students.
College students could definitely do
I'm telling
this.
you, there's
Yeah.
some people in communications like you, myself included.
Well, Robbie, like I know from dealing with John Sugrue, the Laois manager, over the last year or two, and John was actually my physio for a couple of months prior to him becoming the Laois manager.
You play a bit of ball yourself?
I used to have a bit of a glass knee, so it doesn't hold up too well.
What's the term?
It's osteochondritis dissecans. I don't know if you're it's like fragmented bone and stuff. So who were we saying that to the other day? Oh,
It was
Jenny
Egan.
yeah. But no, I know from dealing with John, he himself is quite meticulous. He's very articulate. He's a very mentally focused person, I think. How does that incorporate for yourself? It must have been a seamless transition into it.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly. I've had opportunities of working with teams before, and I've met the manager. I've had a conversation with the manager, and straight away I know this is not going to work. So when John rang me last year, immediately on the phone I got a good vibe off him, and I honestly said to him, listen, I'll sit down and meet you, have a coffee, and we'll see, because I may not be the right fit for you, and vice versa. We might not get on, so it's pointless me saying yeah and then we don't get on, because it's not going to work. But we met down in a hotel there in Newbridge, and straight away at 5 minutes I was sold. Just got on great. I'm lucky that he is obviously a physio. He has a sports science background. He's trained. He does a lot of training, has done in the past. We share the same views, and as you said, like, he is quite meticulous in preparation, and there's nothing left to chance. And like, he really drove that team on last year, and like the players, the respect that they have for him, and like his team talks as well. Like, there's been some team talks when I wanted to put on boots and go, you know what I mean? It's very inspirational, and it's not bullshit or motivational speech, like typical motivational speeches. It's from the heart and really gets to the heart of the Laois lads, and he's brilliant. And we had a good year last year.
Yeah, you have to say it's paying off.
Yeah.
Had their best year in
We were probably at our I've worked freelance for the Leinster for about the last 10 years, and football was at an all-time low.
Yeah.
We experienced it with the hurling a couple of years back, and then we bounced back with Cheddar, but I really didn't see it coming for the footballers as soon. So like the players themselves had called for John Sugrue to be brought in prior to Mick Lillis, and I think he was a candidate at the time, but they didn't opt with him. And I think John's appointment is certainly, you can see the rejuvenation in Laois GAA. Like.
Yeah, and the thing about John as well, like he made some great appointments as well. He obviously brought in your club man, Owen Kearns. Owen was fantastic. Brendan Delaney, great selector as well, good coach, Jerome Clancy, and then we've a great guy who does all the logistics, Brian Breen, and then we've got a good physio.
Oh, I've met Brian. Brian does a bit of refereeing too.
Yeah. I don't know where he gets the time to do all this stuff. It's amazing. But John just built a really good management team, because you can't, in this inter-county age, you cannot run a good inter-county setup just with a manager and a selector. Like, you need, everything needs to be ticked off, all the boxes, because the players these days, obviously with the internet age, and they're just so much more clued in, and they can spot a bluffer straight away, especially like the smarter guys anyway. So like John built a great team there, and it was a good year, but the important thing now is to try and build
on it for Division 3,
exactly,
of course.
yeah.
And how you started back already?
Yeah, we've had a couple of gym sessions and a couple of good sessions. But like, I think a lot of guys would have tipped away
themselves over
this year. I would have been kind of preaching that to them, not to. Whereas like in years gone by, maybe they would have just done nothing for months. So just looking at body fats and stuff like that now, I've done already this year. Like they're definitely the general average compared to this time last year is a lot lower. So they did listen somewhat.
And I suppose you don't have the Portlaoise contingent back just yet. I suppose they'll get
they'll be back
a couple of weeks.
I'm not sure when they'll be back. Probably another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But they were very unlucky there on Sunday.
Paul Callan very unfortunate, Rogers very unfortunate with the penalty.
Yeah.
Right behind Colm lives in Donnacarney. We can actually see Parnell Park from his.
I live in digs up in Donnacarney, and I basically live in the converted attic of the house.
So if you look out the Velux,
you can see Parnell, and you can also see Vincent's pitch as well.
Yeah.
Me and Greg have been meaning to go to a game in Parnell.
We kept saying,
you're not just looking out the window.
Yeah, you can't see it that well.
It's probably the best seat in the house.
You can only see the floodlights really and a bit of the pitch, but we'll have to get onto that, Greg, and go to a game at some stage.
And so for the likes of them Portlaoise guys coming back, how important is it for them to get, I suppose, a break period before coming back into an inter-county setup?
I just know some of them will be itching to get back and do a little bit of fitness after a week. I know myself, if I don't do anything for a few days, I feel terrible. I love the feeling I get from doing a bit of training and the good endorphins, and there's a few guys in that team who will be the same. So I'm sure they're not going to let themselves just do nothing for a couple of weeks. I'm sure already they probably took a complete rest for a week. I'm sure a couple of guys are probably back doing a couple of gym sessions this week. But it's important, I think, mentally more than that now, is to have a bit of a break and refresh their mind.
Any word on Cara Healy? Will he be joining your list?
I actually don't know anything about it, to be honest. I know there has been discussions with both Eddie and John. I'm not sure. I think he was quite open himself. He said he felt like unfinished business with football, but he obviously he's a huge affinity to hurling, so he's still going. He's playing. He's a match this weekend. So.
They're playing on Saturday, isn't it? They're down in Nowlan Park. They're playing Greg Ballycallan. I'm sure, of course, Eddie Brennan is lining out with Greg Ballycallan, the new Laois manager.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah. I think Eddie was on News Talk last night. I just caught a bit of it on the way home from training, so he spoke very well. So he's obviously a great appointment for Laois. So hopefully, wish him the best of luck with that. So.
Yeah.
It's clear you have a big passion for GAA. You played with O'Dwyers in Balbriggan.
I was O'Dwyers, yeah.
I
actually have a newspaper cutting. I always say some of the Dublin lads that I'd be friendly with, like I always say, well, I have this newspaper cutting that I was tipped as a future Dublin half forward. But,
what year was this now?
I was a long time ago. I was like 12, 13, 14, so around that kind of age group. I was, believe it or not, like I'm 6'2" now. When I was 17, I was 5 foot. I was tiny. Jeez. There's a picture.
That's what you call a growth spurt.
I'm still waiting for mine.
How old are you now?
Never mind.
There's a picture in the golf club when I was 17 of we were victorious in a juvenile team tournament called the Squire Ennis, and I'm so small, and it's so funny. Like a couple of years ago, we met a girl I went to school with out in the garage one night, and she she couldn't believe how big I got. So I think I just grew a foot in the space of 6 months, which was just crazy.
Well, speaking of the golf club, you were made an honorary member of the golf club?
Yeah, they made me honorary member on Wednesday, which was brilliant. Yeah, very humbling, very thankful for that. So.
And how'd that come about? Did you find out weeks beforehand or months?
I heard whispers, and I knew that they were trying to push it through. It's a funny thing when it comes to finance. Like, obviously, honorary member means you don't pay. You might, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you obviously don't pay the subscription. So that can not sit well with some people, especially the kind of finance people, financial thinking people at the golf club. So it can be a bit tricky, and it has been tricky in other clubs as well. So they pushed it through anyway, the council, and it went to the AGM there. I was there on Wednesday, and it was great. It was very well received. There wasn't one hand saying no, so I think I was very happy to see that, because with me being there, like, I wasn't gonna go, but the captain insisted that I went, so I would have hated to be there, and people, friends of mine, or not friends, but people that would have known the golf club and would have maybe voted against it or objected. That would have been an experience that I wouldn't have liked to have. So that's how I was actually very relieved that happened.
And so, as well as a prominent athlete, you are a businessman, of course, Robbie. You have your own business, Cannon Performance. How did that come about?
I always had an interest in fitness, obviously from playing sports right from an early age. My dad was a really good soccer player. When you're kind of 7 or 8, you always want to be just like your dad, so I just wanted to be like him. He was a silky kind of midfield winger, so that's what I wanted to be. Tried to base myself on Ryan Giggs growing up, except I was right footed, he was left. But I think I started getting into the gym then when I was kind of mid-20s, and obviously as I've educated myself, I really missed out on windows of opportunity around my growth spurts and through my late teenage years. So if I had been doing proper strength conditioning principles in that period of time, I could have really maximised my athleticism. So
I read something, an interview that you did about this, where you said you were in your late teens, in your early teens, you were a beach body.
Yeah, I think it would have been more mid-20s. In my late teens, I was just skin and bone, just lanky after that growth spurt.
You had to fill out.
So yeah, when mid-20s I started getting into the gym, and yeah, sure, I didn't really know what I was doing. Internet wasn't really full blooming at that stage, so just from books and stuff like that you were reading, and a couple of tips and stuff you pick up off friends. But yeah, I was just very upper body dominant, wouldn't have done any leg exercises. You're going in doing
skipping
your
leg day.
Skipping leg day, exactly. And then I would have been doing a bit of running and stuff like that. So it was very counterproductive stuff for performance, for athletic performance, for golf. And then I ended up meeting guy I was getting a little bit of coaching off at the time, John Kelly from St. Margaret's, a great guy. He done a thing called TPI, it's Tightness Performance Institute, and he was certified, and he put me through a screening, kind of functional screening, and he was telling me I was tight and weak, and I was like, this fella's off the charts. But then he was linking how I was moving physically in these tests to my golf swing, and then that was kind of like when the penny dropped. It was a bit of a light bulb moment. And then within weeks of starting doing the exercises that he was prescribing, the flaws that I had in my swing, technical flaws, start to disappear. And it was a big thing, like the physical really affected the technical on that front. And then I said, right, I need to learn more about this. So I went back to college part-time. I'd done a diploma in physical fitness and conditioning first. Then I went on and did my bachelor's degree, and I did my master's in strength conditioning as well, which I finished last year.
That was an LIT?
LIT, yeah.
And then your bachelor's was Setanta?
Yes, Setanta LIT as well.
Yes,
so,
yeah. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was great. It was part-time. Obviously I was like at the age that I was, I couldn't have just gone back to college and not have any money.
Hey, who are you talking to? I'm a 25-year-old mature student.
Oh well, add on another 10 years then.
Okay.
That's proper mature. 25.
You don't know the meaning of mature.
25 is very, very, very young. So
That's not what we tell Greg.
No, on a daily basis.
I mean, like, I'm 19, Gav's 20, so we usually take the piss out of Greg for his age.
you look quite young, so
Okay, that's who is one of the guests.
especially when you get rid of that moustache.
It's going tomorrow. Thankfully, end
you
of.
look even younger.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably won't go clean shaven now.
One of our guests, I can't remember who thought that Greg was 16.
Oh,
Who was that?
I can't remember, but I do vaguely remember them seriously.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, like when everyone else.
I'd be
is-
quite baby faced as well. So
Yeah, I can't believe you're 40.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
I'm
said
not 40 yet. Come on, backtrack.
You're not over the hill.
39. Yeah, I said 39 now, in fairness.
But yeah, I actually would get away with. I'd like to say 29, but maybe that's stretching a bit. But definitely early 30s.
I got ID'd during the summer for a can of Red Bull. I was after working a double shift in work, and I ran up to the petrol station. I got a can of Red Bull, and she ID'd me for it. I said, "What? You have to be 16."
Red Bull, I
For Red Bull.
didn't know.
And, like I wouldn't mind doing it. I was after driving up to the petrol station, so like I had the car keys, and like I didn't have my ID, obviously.
For smoking a fag.
Yeah.
Did she ask you any petrol as well? Or?
No, like she
Yeah.
was just like she was like, yeah, ID, and I was like, sorry, and she was like, yeah, you have to be 16 to buy it, and I was like, I have car keys, like I don't have ID, but I have car keys, and she was like, no, and I was like, but like you have to be 17 at least to drive a car. No,
So many girls in their early 20s would pay for that.
yeah. So Robbie, coming back to, I suppose you're a busy man. Like how often now, on a weekly basis, when the intercounty season is in full flight, what's your weekly routine then? How does that look?
Well, because the minors are back quite a long time now. We're back a couple of months, so I try and one of the things I tried to do better this year was with interns. Didn't have enough. We only had one intern last year, and that didn't work that well. So this year we've brought in. I've just got another guy in. There's 2 interns for the minors, and they're brilliant. So it's really working well. Just got an intern for the 20s as well. He's a really good guy. He was involved with the senior setup last year as a player. So yeah, like I'm touching base with each team at least once a week, and then obviously the seniors now we're back pretty much full time. So I'll be doing the gym sessions with them and the odd pitch session as well. So like it's not a full time job, but some days it is.
How often do you see yourself going up and down the M50?
It's 2 or 3 times down to Laois a week, and then we actually use Morton Stadium for the Dublin based guys.
Okay.
I was down in Collection last night on the Carlow border with the Collection based fellas. So yeah, but as I said, like sometimes it's 24/7, because if you've done 2 or 3 days with the guys consecutively, like I did last week, you're constantly thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's in your head, and you're just always.
I suppose your phone is always on as well.
The phone is always on, and we did some testing on Sunday, and then you're getting texts the next morning at 7 a.m. hurling test results, blah blah blah. It can get like that during busy times. Certain times it's not like that then, but that's like I love it. Really enjoyed it last year.
Did you ever see when you started off back in, I suppose, gloomy winter time, that you'd get to where Laois first Leinster final in so many years? And I suppose,
well, it's funny. I sent actually when the draw was made back in October last year. I seen the draw and I actually sent out a tweet: Dublin Laois final. So
you may have called it.
I called it, and then I think I might have said I called it, and then some clown on Twitter. Oh, that wasn't that hard to call. So I actually have a friend in Boyles. So I actually asked him for a price on it, and he gave me like it could have been 11 to 1 or something.
It's not great.
It's decent odds though. If you're backing 11 to 1,
Well, given Laois after being promoted Division 3 or Division 4 like that year as well.
Yeah. So it was a good. We had a favourable draw, I guess, but no, it's very hard to predict how it's going to go, especially with new management team and you're getting to know players. Especially the first year, it's always going to be tricky. You don't know how it's going to go. This year we obviously know the players a lot better. The manager knows the players a lot better. We've got some fresh new talent coming through.
I suppose the regional tournament there, the pre-season or after, well, I suppose at the end of the normal season. There's got a few players I think have gone into the panel from that.
Yeah, there's a big panel at the minute now. It'll be cut soon enough because obviously the Port Laois fellas and a couple of lads from Courtwood are going to come in as well. So there'll be a bit of cutting, but yeah, there's 2 or 3 really exciting players there. Like young Mark Barry, who goes to DCU, he's done a couple of things in training already that's kind of left me a bit speechless. So he could be really special player for Laois in the future. He's got a good attitude, and I said to him, like, it's important that you have role models, and I said you need to base yourself on Ross, because they're similar enough players, similar position, and if he can kind of get onto Ross's coattails and try to get as much information and nuggets and listen to what the manager and the coaches say and do a strength condition, because he wouldn't have done any strength condition up until the last few weeks. So if he can, he could be really exciting. So
perfect.
What I will ask the two of you now.
That's stopped, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's out of memory now, or it's battery. So
you're such a
we'll
useless.
leave
You're too tight to pay for electricity.
They lost the electricity card in the house.
Oh yeah,
Did you got it back?
Oh, did you get it back? Okay, good.
You're peasants. You're
Yeah, actually did go last night. I'm living in Cabra with my 4 mates from Cavan, and compared to the digs that these lads are living in.
Where are you from?
Cavan.
Okay, I was going to slag Cavan.
I'm actually neighbours of Leona.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you been to the Steve Russell?
Several times, yeah. I know the pro there pretty well,
Yeah.
Gordon. He actually brought me up a few times to look after some of his students and some of the low handicappers there in Steve Russell. So Gordon's a nice fella. To be honest, I actually don't know the Maguire girls at all. I've had no deal, even though I'm a strength and conditioning coach with the ILGU. They would have been in America when I started, so I wouldn't have had any dealings. I know Oren, the younger brother, a little bit from.
Yeah,
from
he would be on my school bus when I was in 6th year. He
Yeah.
would have been in 1st or 2nd year.
Yeah. But
So-
yeah, they're talking about professional and meticulous. They seem to be along the same lines. They obviously work very hard, and preparation is key with them. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes now for Leona. So and Lisa.
What I was going to ask, as two men with quite close affinities to Laois GAA, but working and supporting and writing about, what's the goal in the next 2 or 3 years for Laois football anyway?
I think
That's Ballyroan, man. Answer that.
if John
Fresh
Sugrue
off
was
their first minor success in a long time.
46 years, I was actually on duty for that one. It's always a nice one when you get to do your own club, and especially if they're winning something. No, I think if John Sugrue was sitting here, he'd probably tell you that he's not looking beyond the next year. Take it day by day. But I suppose the goal for this year would be, promotion from Division 3 would be brilliant, or even good run in Division 3 would be good, build on the momentum from last year.
Another Leinster final?
It'd be great. Look,
We're on the other side of the draw to Dublin, so obviously that gives a
good chance.
A better chance.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I think the most important thing is probably promotion to Division 3 and play at a higher standard more regularly for coming up to Championship. And I suppose just leading in the newer players, younger players, and just they all gel again.
Very good.
We did have a goal setting session last year as a team and management. We haven't had that yet, so I won't comment on any of them goals as yet because we haven't set. But John, it would be like myself, there's a lot of process goals and standards that we'll be setting for ourselves. And myself personally, for my role as with Laois, I obviously want to prepare these guys to as high a standard as possible, not just the senior team, but I think even more importantly, like the 16, 17s, the 20s, like it's all about like increasing their training age or exposure to training, strength conditioning, acceleration, skill-based games, stuff like that. So when they are old enough for the hustle and bustle of senior inter-county football, that they're ready, and that's where my goal is to keep putting them structures in place and working these guys. So
Very good.
And then going back to your own business, Robbie, for clients signing up, what does your program actually offer?
Yeah, because obviously my golf obviously is my sport. A lot of my clients, a high percentage of my clients, will be golfers. So golf is quite specific in the fact that there is certain movements that you need to be able to do in your body to be able to swing the club as efficient as possible. So my process with that, it involves a screening, some testing, and then the program is designed from them results, and we work away on that. And then there's obviously we test quite a lot and get them back in and see how it's going, just to make sure that the program is progressing. And it's the same with different sports as well, but golf in particular, like there's obviously so many moving parts that need to be moving, and quite a lot of mobility based as well. So
any particular names that you've worked with stand out for being, you know, good trainers, bad trainers, all that kind of
athletes?
Yeah.
Obviously I've been working with Shane Lowry for quite a long time, and like he even though he may not look like he's athletic, he's got a high degree of athleticism. He moves great. He can pick up an exercise like that, and that to me is always a kind of a hallmark of a top athlete. Somebody who can pick up an exercise as complex as it could be, and he gets it first time. And he's working really hard at the minute. I think the best is yet to come from him, and he get a good finish to the season, and I'd say he's looking forward to I think with more than likely Porig is going to be the Ryder Cup captain, so them two are very, very good friends, very close, so he'd obviously love to play Ryder Cup with Porig as the captain.
Yeah, of course. Boys, any final questions?
Oh right, yeah, since you brought it up, best and worst trainers amongst the Laois panel.
Call them out, go on. Exclusive.
I'm not going to put anyone down.
Okay,
Ross was the same in fairness.
Yeah.
Best trainer then. Who
Who's your top three?
Regarding training or attitude or
We'll let that up to you. Leave that up to you.
Gareth Dillon is he had a great season this year.
Brilliant year, yeah.
I thought he had a great game last week, especially in the first half for his club. He works great. He's a great trainer. Great attitude. Always trying to get better. Obviously Ross. I spoke about Ross. He'd be of the same kind of caliber. The most important thing is attitude. And if your attitude is not right, you're not going to have a good training session. You're not going to get the most out of yourself. So I'm more interested in working with guys with high attitude and the right attitude, rather than guys who have a sloppy attitude and they're great movers. You know what I mean? Because there's more scope for improvement with people with the right attitude.
Any advice that you've been given that has really influenced you throughout your career?
I've been very lucky. I have a great mentor, Liam Hennessy.
Porrick Harrington's trainer.
Yeah, he's worked with Porrick for about 20 years, but he was probably instrumental. He was the IRFU high performance director when they turned professional. So a lot of the structures and principles that are in there now, that is leading to all the success, would have been set up from Liam. He deserves a lot of success deserves a lot of praise from the work he did with the RFU at the very start. He's a great mentor. Anytime I've queried your question,
He's your first phone
he's
call.
my first phone call. The danger is though, I ring him up with one question and I end up having about 12 different questions that I have to go and research myself. And that's the beauty of him. He doesn't really answer the question directly, but he'll set you on the path to go
Guide you
find
to
out.
Give you the tools and then it's up to you.
Yeah. And it's just a much more learning experience rather than that's the answer.
Yeah.
So he's great. He's a great guy. He's been a huge influence on my life, not just my career but my life as well. So.
And any advice that you would pass on yourself, whether it be in performance or just even motivating yourself to do whatever it is you want to do?
Yeah, I think one of the best things I've ever been told was, before you go to bed, get out your diary, write 3 things that you have to do the next day. Whether it's study, sports, your life.
Interview Robbie Cannon.
Yeah. And then when you go to bed the next night, you see these 3 things. If you've done that, you go tick, tick, tick. And that's their 3 wins. And as I said earlier on, them little wins, they add up to the big wins. And like it's quite, like sometimes if you keep it as simple as that, you can get a lot of success in your life, in your sport. So that's probably the best thing that I can say to somebody.
Very good.
It's a lot of food for thought for us.
Yeah.
I think we need to up our game, guys.
Yeah, we'll listen back to this interview when
we need some inspiration.
Listen, Robbie, thanks for inviting us out here to Morton.
Pleasure. Thanks for
great hospitality, water provided, and everything.
We need to up our game.
And it's been a great chat with yourself. So
cheers.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity. This has been In Conversation with Robbie Cannon. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.